In 1944, the first American military helicopter rescued 4 survivors from a crash in Burma by hovering over a jungle clearing too small for any fixed-wing aircraft to land. The pilot had no weapons, no armor, and no instruments designed for combat. Today, an Apache attack helicopter can destroy 16 tanks in a single pass at night in a sandstorm from 3 kilometers away. This is every generation of American military helicopter ever built and how each one made the last one obsolete. Sikorsky R-4, 1944. The world's first production helicopter to enter military service, 1,200 pounds, 1 pilot, a single piston engine producing 180 horsepower, top speed, 130 kilometers per hour. The R-4 cannot carry a weapon. It cannot carry much of anything. Payload is measured in a handful of pounds beyond the pilot himself. What it can do is land vertically in a space no fixed-wing aircraft can reach. That single capability changes military thinking permanently. Rescue missions that were previously impossible become routine. The R-4 does not define what a military helicopter will become. It proves that a military helicopter can exist at all. Bell H-13 Sioux, 1946, light observation and Medevac helicopter, open cockpit, bubble canopy, skid landing gear, powered by a 200 horsepower Franklin engine. In Korea, it becomes the iconic image of battlefield medicine stretchers mounted externally on the skids, carrying wounded soldiers from the front line to MASH units in minutes. Before the H-13, a soldier wounded beyond a certain distance from a surgical unit died from blood loss or shock before reaching care. The H-13 collapses that distance to nothing. It saves thousands of lives in Korea not by fighting, but by making the distance between the battlefield and the operating table irrelevant. Sikorsky H-19 Chickasaw, 1950, the first American helicopter capable of carrying troops in meaningful numbers. 10 Sioux. Passengers or 6 stretchers. A single 750 horsepower radial engine. Korea proves that helicopters can move soldiers, not just save them. The H-19 begins conducting the first combat air assaults in history, inserting troops behind enemy lines, extracting them under fire, repositioning units faster than any ground vehicle can. A new doctrine is invented in real time. Nobody has a manual for helicopter assault tactics. The pilots write it themselves, mission by mission, over Korean ridgelines. Bell UH-1 Iroquois, Huey, 1959, the helicopter that defines a generation, a single turboshaft engine replacing the heavy, unreliable piston engines of every helicopter before it. Turbine power changes everything. Lighter, more powerful, faster to start, easier to maintain. The Huey carries 11 troops or 6 stretchers at 220 kilometers per hour. In Vietnam, it becomes the sound of the war itself, the distinctive 2-blade thump heard across every valley and rice paddy for a decade. Over 16,000 built. Medevac Assault Command Resupply Gunship. The Huey does every job simultaneously. It is the first helicopter the American military truly cannot function without. Bell AH-1 Cobra, 1967. Vietnam creates a problem the Huey cannot fully solve. Armed Hueys provide fire support for assaults, but they are slow, large, and easy to hit. The Cobra is the answer. Narrow fuselage profile, only 96 centimeters wide, making it a dramatically smaller target. A tandem cockpit with gunner in front, pilot behind, a chin-mounted turret with a 20mm cannon, and rocket pods on stub wings. Top speed, 277 kilometers per hour. The Cobra is the world's first purpose-built attack helicopter. It establishes a design template, narrow body, tandem seats, stub wings for weapons, dedicated attack role, that every attack helicopter built anywhere in the world follows for the next 50 years. Sikorsky UH-60 Blackhawk, 1979, the direct replacement for the Huey. Twin turboshaft engines instead of one, 11 troops at 295 kilometers per hour. Designed to survive hits from 23mm cannon fire, crash-worthy seats that absorb impact energy and protect the crew in a hard landing, cargo hook capable of lifting a 105mm howitzer. The Blackhawk is the Swiss Army knife of the American military. Every branch operates it. Every mission uses it. Over 4,000 built and still in production. It serves in Grenada, Panama, the Gulf War, Somalia, Iraq, Afghanistan, and dozens of operations that never made the news. The Blackhawk does not do any single thing better than every alternative. It does everything well enough that no alternative is needed. Boeing AH-64 Apache, 1986, the most lethal attack helicopter ever built. Twin engines, 2 crew in tandem, a 30mm chain gun under the nose slaved to the gunner's helmet. Wherever he looks, the gun points. 16 Hellfire. Laser-guided missiles, rocket pods. The target acquisition and designation system gives it full night fighting capability, identifying and engaging tank-sized targets at 6 kilometers in complete darkness. In the Gulf War of 1991, Apaches destroy the first Iraqi air defense radar installations of the campaign, opening the corridor for the entire air war that follows. Over the following 30 years, the Apache receives continuous upgrades, longer-range Hellfire variants, longbow millimeter-wave radar above the rotor mast that sees through weather, and network integration that shares targeting data with every other aircraft and ground unit in the formation. Boeing CH-47. Chinook, 1962. Tandem rotors, no tail rotor, 12.5 tons of payload. The Chinook lifts things nothing else can. Artillery pieces, vehicles, entire structures. It first flies in 1962 and is still in production in 2024. Over 60 years of continuous service without a fundamental redesign, because the Ain't No Biggie tandem rotor configuration solves the heavy lift problem so completely that no successor has improved on it meaningfully. The Chinook carries the war's heaviest loads in Vietnam, rescues soldiers from Himalayan peaks in Afghanistan, and delivers special operations forces in missions that are still classified. It is the B-52 of American military helicopters, Sikorsky MH-60 and derivatives. Special Operations, 1981, the Blackhawk airframe pushed to its limits. The MH-60 adds terrain-following radar, in-flight refueling probes, advanced navigation systems, and exhaust suppressors that reduce infrared signature. It flies at night at low altitude into denied territory. It inserts and extracts special operations forces from locations that appear on no approved flight plan. The modified Blackhawks that fly the Bin Laden raid in 2011 incorporate stealth features, modified tail rotors and fuselage shaping. So classified that when one crashes in the compound courtyard, the crew destroys it before leaving to prevent any examination of the technology. 2030 to 2050. What comes next? The Future Long-Range Assault Aircraft, FLRAA, is already selected. The Bell V-280 Valor, a tiltrotor that takes off and lands like a helicopter, but tilts its rotors forward to fly at 520 kilometers per hour in cruise. Nearly twice the speed of the Blackhawk it replaces, twice the range. The tiltrotor concept eliminates the fundamental speed ceiling that has limited helicopters since the R-4. A spinning rotor blade moving forward reaches the speed of sound on its advancing side long before the aircraft itself is fast. The tiltrotor sidesteps that physics problem entirely by becoming a propeller aircraft in forward flight. Unmanned combat rotorcraft are already operating. The MQ-8 Fire Scout flies reconnaissance and targeting missions from destroyers without a pilot. The next generation will carry weapons. Autonomous resupply helicopters already deliver cargo into Ipanema. Contested environments where landing a manned aircraft is too dangerous. The pilot becomes optional first in the most dangerous missions, then in all of them. From an open cockpit rescue aircraft that could barely carry its own pilot to autonomous tiltrotors flying combat missions at 500 kilometers per hour. Every generation exists because the one before it became vulnerable. Payload, speed, lethality, survivability, autonomy. And the next American military helicopter is probably already flying a test route whose coordinates are not published.